is almost over. We're excited to have you with us today. I'm Robert Theobald, Small Business Ombudsman and Vice President of Small Business Services here at the Arizona Commerce Authority, and we're really excited to have you with us. A little bit about today's session before I jump into the regular stuff is this is a session that our presenter Felicia and I have been working on for about 2 years. And so we're finally able to get it to you. We're really excited about it. So we're glad you're here with us. As we like to do, we like to start by thanking all of our community partners. This slide and this next one are just samples of the community partners that have helped us with the boot camp and continue to help us. We could not do these without their time, their effort, and their expertise to bring these to you. So those that are new and not familiar with the Small Business Boot Camp, it is a webinar series that we do every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. and it's designed to help small businesses grow and establish their business. It is a statewide initiative supported by all of our community partners. And not only is it the webinar every Tuesday, but it is a content library and a series of workshops. And so we've done a number of workshops already this year, and we have more planned that you'll see information on. But I really want to talk about the content library because this is the golden nugget of the program. So when we first started the Small Business Boot Camp in April of 2020, we also recorded every session because we knew that people could not always attend the times we had them scheduled. And they may not be able to attend at 9 a.m. now. And so by recording them, we've been able to create a content library of over 200 plus recorded webinars. I believe there's about 230 now that are recorded, both the webinars and some of the workshops we've done. And they're available to you at no cost, just as there's no cost to join today. And you'll find that content library at the bottom of our Small Business Bootcamp webpage. You can see on the screen, there's options to sort by 7 different categories to help you find what you're looking for amongst the 200 plus webinars that are there. But if you have questions and you're looking for something specific, feel free to reach out to us. You can reach out to myself or to Faith, and we can guide you to the webinar that you may be looking for with the content you're looking for. The ACA also has a number of other programs that can help support small businesses as you look to start, grow, and scale. We have our small business services, our workforce division, and for the manufacturers, the Arizona MEP, the Manufacturing Extension Partnership. Now, for those entrepreneurs that are looking to start your business or grow to a new area or different product line, our small business checklist can help you identify the commonly requested licensing, registration, and compliance needs at the local, state, and federal level. You can also find other information on starting your business and growing your business. It is a plethora of information. And as you can see on the screen that's on the screen, in the right-hand corner, you'll see Sally, our virtual assistant. Sally can help you for real quick answers. But if you're looking for a lot more information or deeper information for each category, you can dive into that checklist and get that information. So with that, we want to look at some of our upcoming sessions. Next Tuesday, we're going to have representatives on from the Women's Business Center, SCORE, and the SBDC to talk about their no-cost business support programs. I firmly believe that every small business should have a third-party person, individual, organization helping coach them along. Everybody needs a coach for success, and these organizations can help do that. And so they're going to be able to talk about what they do and how they do it. So we hope you can join us for that session. Then the following Tuesday, we have 6 steps to develop a social media holiday plan. As we're looking, the holidays are coming quickly. I mean, we're ending August today. Before we know it, we'll be in the holidays, and you want to get that holiday social media plan set up and prepared so you can execute it flawlessly during that holiday season or beforehand to maximize your holiday sales. And then Tuesday, September 20th, we have eliminating obstacles of building a profitable path. We have a returning presenter there who does a great job on helping guide businesses to maximize their profitability. So we're excited about her presentation on the 20th. So with that, we're going to jump into today's session. Today we have Felicia Gillis. She's the customer service administrator for the e-commerce compliance and outreach, the ECHO team at the Arizona Department of Revenue. And again, Felicia and I have been working on this topic to do a boot camp webinar for a couple of years. The pandemic threw some things off, but we've been discussing this because it's a very important topic she's going to touch on today for all of our businesses that sell online. And so with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, Felicia and Taylor, and let you guys pull up your presentation and get started.
All right, can everybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine. And while they're pulling that up, if you can put your questions that you have in the Q&A, and we'll save the chat for some interaction back and forth. And I believe we're going to have some polls and other things in the presentation. So we're excited to have that. So Felicia, it is all yours.
All right, well, thank you, Robert. Hello, everyone. First, the Arizona Department of Revenue would like to thank you, Robert, and the Arizona Commerce Authority for the opportunity to present how to navigate the changing tax law landscape of Arizona. Like Robert said, my name is Felicia Gillis, and I'm the administrator of the e-commerce compliance and outreach team, otherwise known as ECHO. Joining me today is Manisha Patel, ECHO's tax analyst, and Taylor Schrader, ECHO's executive assistant. Next slide. Taylor, can you? Okay, thank you. This disclaimer is to ensure that any variance or discrepancies are solely attributed to the presenter and not to the agency. Can you go to the next slide, Taylor? During today's presentation, we will discuss the history of remote seller marketplace facilitator laws, Arizona out-of-state economic nexus law, and how the laws affect Arizona retail businesses. We will also provide resources to help become a successful business selling in and out of Arizona. Lastly, at the end of the presentation, there'll be an opportunity to ask general questions. If you have specific questions regarding your business taxable activities, we ask that you contact us directly. Taylor, next slide. Now that you have know a little bit about us and what we're going to present today, we want to learn a little bit more about you. Faith, can you please share the poll? Now, what we'd like you to do is to select which business category that you fall under. So are you an Arizona-based seller, a remote seller, a marketplace seller, a marketplace facilitator in Arizona, or a marketplace facilitator outside of Arizona? Or maybe you're none of the above. So I'm just going to pause for a few seconds to allow everyone to submit their answers. And then Faith, as soon as we see the answers, we can go ahead and share the poll results. Okay, so what do we have so far? All right, we have 60% Arizona-based sellers, and we've got 7% remote sellers. We've got some marketplace sellers, and we don't have any marketplace facilitators, but we do have some marketplace facilitators in Arizona. And then some are just none above. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to, after the presentation, we are going to share this poll again to see if there are any changes in our understanding. So as for pre-Wayfair, although there were a few court cases that helped to change landscape in e-commerce laws, the two most significant or impactful were Quill Corp versus North Dakota and South Dakota versus Wayfair. In 1992, Quill Corp versus North Dakota Supreme Court ruling held that states could not levy taxes on sales from out-of-state retailers without a physical presence in the state. Next slide, Taylor, please. On June 21st, 2018, the United States Supreme Court ruled in South Dakota versus Wayfair. The decision, one of the most significant state and local taxation rulings in decades, allows states to require out-of-state businesses without a physical presence, but that have significant economic activity within their state to collect and remit tax on sales from transactions in their state. In May 2019, Arizona joined the ranks of dozens of states that enacted remote seller and marketplace facilitator laws, which requires out-of-state retailers, manufacturers, and wholesalers that are remote sellers or marketplace facilitators with no physical presence in Arizona to obtain a TPT license or transaction privilege tax license, and to begin filing and paying TPT beginning October 1st of 2019. For the convenience, retailers are allowed to pass the cost of TPT to its customers. The law introduced new economic dollar-based Nexus standards for businesses that have no physical presence in the state. For Arizona purposes, economic nexus means a business gross proceeds of sales or income derived from sales into Arizona meets or exceeds the required economic thresholds, either in the previous or the current calendar year. For purposes of determining economic nexus, wholesalers and manufacturers will include all of their sales into Arizona, including their sales for resale. Transactions involving sales for resale will be exempt from tax by using deduction code 503. Arizona Form 5000A is used to purchase tangible personal property for resale in the ordinary course of business. A business must have a transaction privilege tax license or other state's tax license to purchase tangible personal property for resale. Tangible personal property, commonly referred to as TPP, is a tax term which is used to describe physical property that can be felt or touched, such as furniture, clothing, and vehicles, and any other property, including information technology systems. The legislation also emphasized on different treatment for different retail business models in these taxpayer categories. Arizona-based seller without a storefront, marketplace facilitator in Arizona, marketplace facilitator, marketplace seller, and remote seller. Now, over the next few slides, we will take a deeper dive into each one of these categories. We will not cover Arizona-based retailers with storefront. An Arizona-based seller without a storefront is any person or business that is located or based in Arizona, engages in retail activity, but does not have a brick and mortar facility or storefront. The retail sales are made online or through other channels, such as business's own website and or marketplace facilitator who sell to customers located in Arizona and or other states. For Arizona purposes, these retailers are not remote sellers, and thresholds do not apply since the business is based in Arizona and has physical presence. However, these retailers may be considered remote sellers in other states. Even without a storefront, the business in Arizona is an Arizona retailer and will likely be required to obtain a TPT license. Such retailers would be required to remit TPT beginning with the first dollar of sale unless there's a statutory exemption or deduction. For example, a business engages in the retail activity of selling homemade soap. This business only sells through their own website to Arizona and or out-of-state customers. In this example, the business will be considered an Arizona-based seller without storefront, and will be required to obtain a TPT license and remit TPT using Business Code 017. In addition, the retailer may be liable for the sales made to other states depending on their respective sales tax laws. When reporting this sale, the business should use the deduction code 504 interstate or foreign commerce sales to exempt the transaction. Next slide. When an Arizona business makes sales through a marketplace facilitator, the business will not be responsible for remitting TPT on these sales to Arizona Department of Revenue. A marketplace facilitator should provide a business with documentation that it will be collecting and remitting the TPT on behalf of the business. Such documentation may include an email or other specific communication directed to the sellers on the marketplace that specifies that the marketplace facilitator will collect and remit TPT on sales to Arizona customers. For the convenience of marketplace facilitators, the department has created an exemption certificate form 5020 that may be pre-filled and provided to sellers. However, if the business has a TPT license, it is required to report its retail activity even if there are no sales in a specific filing period. Retail activity is reported using Business Code 017 and may deduct its marketplace facilitated sales using deduction code 804. As previously stated, there is one exception to Arizona's licensing requirement. If an Arizona business sells 100% through a marketplace facilitator, the business is not required to obtain a TPT license unless for resale purchases. However, when operating in cities or towns, please check with their specific business license requirements. One example is a clothing boutique that only sells through a marketplace facilitator to Arizona and out-of-state customers. Because 100% of the retail sales are through the marketplace facilitator, the business would not be required to obtain an Arizona TPT license unless the business is purchasing clothing for resale. Then it would need a TPT license to purchase the clothing tax exempt. When an Arizona business makes a retail sale to a customer in another state, it could be taxable in Arizona, taxable in the state where the customer is located, or not taxable at all. So let's talk about whether the sale is taxable to the Arizona-based business. A sale is taxable in Arizona if an out-of-state purchaser visits Arizona to make a purchase that is then shipped to another state. For example, Utah customer goes to an Arizona business to purchase an item and then asks that business to ship the item back to Utah. That sale becomes an Arizona transaction and is taxable for TPT purposes. Now let's talk about an example of when a sale may be taxable in another state. An out-of-state customer initiates a purchase from the Arizona business's website, and the Arizona business ships the item to the person in another state. That sale is not taxable for Arizona TPT purposes. This sale is known as an interstate sale, and the Arizona business should report the sale and deduct it using deduction code 504. This transaction would be governed by that state's tax laws and may be taxable. When making direct sales to other states, the Arizona business should keep track of the total volume of sales in dollars and quantity of sales of each state. This is important because the Arizona business may have a sales tax responsibility in other states based on that respective state's economic nexus requirements. Now let's talk about when the sale is not taxable for Arizona purposes. If 100% of sales are marketplace facilitated, the sale would not be taxable because the marketplace facilitator is responsible for collecting and remitting tax. So a marketplace facilitator in Arizona, otherwise known as MPF-AZ, is any person or business that does have a physical presence in Arizona and operates a marketplace, such as a website, mail-in catalog, store or booth, or any other type of platform, which facilitates the sale of tangible personal property, excluding tobacco, between a buyer and seller and accepts payments on behalf of the seller. Marketplace facilitators in Arizona are required to obtain a TPT license with Arizona and to file and remit taxes on their sales regardless of any threshold amount. Marketplace facilitators in Arizona may also be required to be licensed in other states and remit taxes in those states if it meets threshold requirements in other states. Marketplace facilitators should provide documentation to all of the Arizona sellers on their marketplace that they are collecting and remitting any applicable taxes on their behalf. A marketplace facilitator, otherwise known as MPF, is any person or business that does not have physical presence in Arizona and, similar to the previous slide, operates a marketplace such as website or mail-in catalog, which facilitates the sales of tangible personal property between a buyer and seller and accepts payments on behalf of the seller. Out-of-state marketplace facilitators are required to obtain a TPT license with Arizona and to file and to remit taxes on their sales when the business meets the economic threshold of $100,000 in sales of tangible personal property in the current year or previous calendar year into Arizona beginning October 31st, 2019 and beyond. These sales include facilitating sales for remote sellers or on its own behalf. A marketplace seller, or MS, is any retailer who makes sales of tangible personal property through a physical or electronic marketplace operated by a marketplace facilitator. A marketplace seller would not be required to register, file, and pay TPT if 100% of those sales are made through a marketplace facilitator. However, to make exempt purchases, sell for resale, a resale certificate would be required. For an Arizona marketplace seller, a TPT license would be needed and a TPT license number would be required on Form 5000A, sale for resale. In this case, the Arizona marketplace seller would be required to report all facilitated sales using business code 017 and deduct those sales using deduction code 804. For an out-of-state marketplace seller, a TPT license is not required as the business can use their sales tax number of their respective state on Form 5000A, sale for resale certificate. A remote seller has economic nexus if in the previous year or current year, the gross receipts generated from direct sales of the tangible personal property into Arizona are more than $200,000 in calendar year 2019, $150,000 in 2020, and $100,000 in 2021 and beyond. This is also known as a step-down threshold. Now, how does the remote seller marketplace facilitator law affect Arizona businesses' compliance with other states? Well, it depends on your retail business model and activity into other states. Are you considered a remote seller? If you're a remote seller and your sales of products for delivery into a state meet or exceed the threshold for a state, you may be required to register to collect and remit sales tax for that state. Economic nexus laws applies to any business that makes sales into states in which they have no physical presence but meet the state's sales and or transaction thresholds. Some items to note when reviewing the requirements is that many states base their threshold on sales or transactions, while some states base their thresholds in sales and transactions. A state may base its sales thresholds on gross sales, gross revenues, retail sales, or taxable sales. And many states do not distinguish between taxable and non-taxable sales when determining if a threshold is met. Are you a marketplace seller? Many states have also enacted marketplace facilitator provider laws that require the marketplace facilitator or provider to remit tax on sales facilitated on behalf of the marketplace sellers. The marketplace seller may also be required to register and file returns for sales and use tax purposes in that state. A marketplace seller may also be considered a remote seller. And lastly, are you a marketplace facilitator or provider? The marketplace facilitator provider, either directly or indirectly through contracts, agreements, or other arrangements with third parties, collects the payment from the purchaser and transmit all or part of the payments to the seller. A marketplace facilitator or provider may also be a remote seller. If the marketplace facilitator provider has physical presence in a state, it is not a remote seller and is generally required to register in that state regardless of the amount of sales. Some important things to note is that if you know that you will be making direct sales into a state, you may choose to register to collect and remit that state's sales tax at any time. And states may define a marketplace facilitator or provider more narrowly or more broadly than the general definition shown here. It is important to review a state's laws and other published guidance for specific states' requirements. And Arizona businesses selling through a marketplace must be aware of who is collecting and remitting tax. What is the business's responsibility, if any, when the marketplace is collecting the tax? And what is this business's responsibility if the marketplace is not collecting the tax? Now, there are several resources that provide services to the e-commerce business community, such as the Streamlined Sales Tax Governing Board, who provides state remote seller, marketplace seller, and marketplace facilitator guidelines, which includes thresholds and compliance dates, as well as links to each state's websites. As shown here, this is a chart provides a summary of the remote seller's economic nexus thresholds and compliance dates as of November 19th, 2021. This chart provides a summary of marketplace seller registration and reporting requirements in the 24 streamlined member states and some non-member states. For specific questions concerning your requirements in a state, please contact that state. This chart provides you a summary of marketplace facilitator, provider registration, and reporting requirements in the 24 streamlined member states and some non-member states. It's important to note that their website is general guidance and is not legal advice. Nothing in the charts overrides an individual state's law. And again, for specific state guidance, we ask that you contact that state. Now, before we get into CSPs, I just want to share a quick disclaimer that the Arizona Department of Revenue does not promote or endorse CSPs. This information is being provided for general information only. A CSP is an agent certified under the Streamlined Sales and Use Tax Agreement to perform all the seller's sales and use tax functions other than the seller's obligation to remit tax on its own purchases. A CSP is designed to allow a business to outsource most of its sales tax administration responsibilities. And currently, the 4 providers that are certified by Streamlined Sales Tax Governing Board are Avalara, TaxCloud, Sovos, and Accurate Tax. To learn more about how to qualify for a free CSP service, please visit the website that's provided there on the screen. Another resource is the Multi-State Tax Commission, otherwise known as MTC. MTC is an intergovernmental state tax agency that works on behalf of states and taxpayers to facilitate equitable and efficient administration of state tax laws that apply to multi-state and multinational enterprises. One program that they offer is the Multi-State Voluntary Disclosure Program. Some of the benefits of this program is that it provides a way for a taxpayer with potential tax liability in multiple states to negotiate a settlement using a uniform procedure, resulting in a faster, more efficient, and less costly than approaching each state separately. Encourages taxpayers to commence filing and paying taxes in states in which they may have substantial nexus, and there is no charge to the taxpayer for participating. This slide was taken from the U.S. Government Accountability Office recent survey on remote seller tax and the initial observations on effects of states' expanded authority. We thought it was a good visual that represents current remote seller thresholds. I also wanted to share some of their survey highlights. First, about a third of state tax collections come from sales tax. And then second, 45 states and DC adopted remote sales tax laws. And then lastly, in 2021, 33 states reported $23 billion in remote sales tax revenue. Arizona Department of Revenue also has several resources and services to the e-commerce business community. Our Arizona-based Sellers Without a Storefront page provides FAQs, information and resources to businesses located in Arizona who are selling online. Our out-of-state sellers page is for out-of-state businesses looking for information on threshold requirements, licensing and filing requirements, and provides FAQs. The aztaxes.gov website is where a business can complete the following, such as enroll to file and pay, verify a TPT license, due date calendar, logging into Arizona Taxes or AZ Taxes account, and the Arizona tax rate lookup. While the Arizona Department of Revenue provides information and education on starting a new business, we also provide publications, forms, tax rate tables, and information on unclaimed property. Other important links include the Model City Tax Code, which lists changes to city and town codes, and the TPT online quick reference for new businesses starting with Arizona Department of Revenue. ADOR also offers various programs that foster continuous or remedial compliance. First, we also offer a voluntary disclosure program, and some of the benefits include personalized support for registration, licensing, reporting, and payment of tax, and a reduced look-back period for prior unpaid tax and a waiver of penalties. Second, Department of Revenue offers monthly installment payment plans for taxpayers seeking assistance in paying their tax liabilities. And next, ADOR uses several approved TPT file vendors who have gone through testing and have been approved for bulk filing by ADOR's e-services team. And lastly, ADOR offers other specialized programs designed to assist taxpayers with reviews and analysis that enable compliance without costly assessments of penalty and interest. For more information concerning any of the above programs, please visit the website at azdor.gov. And then lastly, Arizona Department of Revenue created the e-commerce compliance and outreach team as part of its implementation of Arizona's remote seller and marketplace facilitator law. ECHO is comprised of a dedicated team of ADOR subject matter experts who assist businesses and tax professionals with questions concerning correspondence received from Department of Revenue, remote seller and marketplace facilitator TPT licensing, filing, and payment assistance, and questions concerning physical and economic nexus. And lastly, we connect Arizona-based businesses with other states' taxing authorities. ECHO's mission is to foster voluntary compliance by using an upfront educational approach through innovative outreach techniques. ECHO endeavors to reduce complexity of navigating the changing landscape of e-commerce tax laws. We have an established dedicated phone line, 833-293-7253 or 833-AZ-ESAIL, that might be easier to remember, and an email address, azesail@azdor.gov. So again, we'd like to thank you for the time today. And before we get started with any questions, we would like to conduct the earlier poll again, just to see if there might be any changes in what you had selected as far as your business category. So Faith, is there any way that you can please share the poll one more time? All right. So again, please submit your answer of which business category that you may fall under. And we'll allow everybody to go ahead and post their answers. And then Faith, whenever you're ready, maybe we can share the results. Okay. And I didn't get the previous results, but Faith, do you have, are we pretty much in alignment with?
We are in alignment. In our first poll, we had 60% identified as Arizona-based sellers, now currently 55. The biggest adjustment that we saw within polls 1 and 2 is those who have marked none of the above, previously 13%, now at 28%.
Wow, and there was no changes to the remote seller?
Nope. No changes.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope that we had provided enough information to help you get a better determination of which business category that you fall under. So what we'll do now is we'll take some questions. I think we have a few minutes for questions, right, Robert?
Yeah, we have some time for questions and we have some in the Q&A. And so if you have questions, put them in the Q&A at the bottom, not in the chat. And we can go through those.
And I know many people are going to jump in and help with the Q&As, right? Or can you hear? Do you?
Manisha's been helping answer them throughout. Been great.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Manisha.
Okay, so yeah, I've been typing the questions. I can answer there's a question. Does you being present in the states mean the website owner has residence in that state, same or voting, or currently lives in that state? So for an in-state person or the person who is in Arizona, for them, they are Arizona-based seller if whether you have a storefront or you don't have, and you are selling through online, your own website, you have a presence. And for the out of state remote seller is checking whether they have a presence in Arizona or not. For them, we have five way to check. Either you have employee, non-employee in Arizona working for you, which is establishing and maintaining the market, whether you or the business is presenting here in the trade show, or any other way coming here frequently to ensure that your business continues. If you are delivering goods through your own vehicle, if you have leasing or renting any personal property. So those kind of conditions will make the out-of-state remote seller physical presence in Arizona and required standard license. There is another question is from Debbie English, the one that will give more information on the CSP services or vendor. So if you want any services, if you want any information regarding CSP or vendors, you can reach out to us through azesal@azdor.gov, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. There is another question from Bram Jordan. Will my CPA be able to assist with these, or sorry, it's moving, so I didn't see it. Sorry, I'm reading again. Will my CPA be able to assist with these, or do we need a specialist assistant? Sorry, Bram, I'm not able to understand the question. Maybe you can send your inquiry through our email, azesal@azdor.gov.
For that question, real quick, I would say, Bram, ask your CPA. Your CPA may know enough about the taxes to do that. They may not, and so you may need to, have someone help with that. But I would just directly ask your CPA if they know how to handle this.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Robert, for that.
Another question, Manisha, that Debbie had asked, and then somebody else had asked a similar one, is the online TPT, if there is one for software as a service, or just services in general. We all know that hard goods, clothing, electronics, what they might be, because they're hard durable goods, have a sales tax to go with it. But what about services that might be sold through a website, or software licenses?
So for those people who has software as a service, if software as a service basically goes for the standard license, because software is treated like renting of personal property. You are giving software to somebody to use for certain period, and you are charging on regular payment, which is like a subscription. So that essentially means that you are renting personal property in Arizona. Does this answer the question, or is there any follow-up question?
No, I think that answers it. That the software as a service, would require it for
standard license.
Yeah.
So there is another question. What if you use a marketplace and have sales through sales through marketplace, and then you are also a marketplace seller and Arizona-based seller? What if you use a marketplace and have sales through your own website? Are you both a marketplace seller and Arizona-based seller? So when you are selling through marketplace, so it depends where you are. If you are in Arizona, then you are having a standard license. All the sales which is done by marketplace, that one will be reported by the marketplace facilitator. So when you are reporting your sales, the Arizona-based sales, you will pay taxes on that, and that sales through marketplace facilitator, you will take a deduction 804, and the other sale you will report under 017.
So we have another question that says, what if the other business owners are not living in Arizona? How do you know which state would not be Arizona-based seller then correct? I might answer some of that. I think, Manisha, wouldn't that also be where the business is created and registered? So I mean, you do have to even, and you know, if you registered your address in Arizona, then with the Department of Revenue for TPT, then you might be considered an Arizona-based business. Or if you created your LLC in Arizona, then you're an Arizona-based business.
That
Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. If you are having, if you are residing in Arizona, then that is Arizona-based business. But if you are not in Arizona, if you are out of state, then you are remote seller. So there is another question. If I sell via Shopify and 90% of the products are fulfilled by a vendor in Florida and 10% of the products are handmade here in Arizona, do I collect sales tax for the items made in Arizona only? So I would say, Richel, for this, you check your agreement with the Shopify. In my understanding, Shopify do not collect taxes. So you check your agreement. If they don't collect, then you have to see if the sale is made in Arizona, then you will charge accordingly. So it is very important whenever you are asking question, whether we have to know whether you are in Arizona or out of Arizona. So in this case, I can assume that you are in Arizona. So all of your sale made through Shopify, you are going to charge 017 business code, that is Arizona based seller, and that one will be your location rate you will charge. And if any sale which is made to Florida, then that one you have to check the Florida sales tax requirement. So there's another question from Jason. What is the appropriate deduction code for a remote seller within Arizona? So it is very important to know that if you are doing business in Arizona online, you do not call yourself as a remote seller. Remote seller is strictly for out of state business people. So I didn't get that question 100%, that what is the appropriate deduction code. In there we have on our website azdor.gov. If you log into that and type in search deduction code, and you will get all the list of the deduction code. So whether you want to use the deduction code for interstate, it will be 504. If you are going to take deduction for the sell through marketplace facilitator, then you use 804. Sell for resale, you will use 543. So all the deduction code you will get on that listing on our website, azdor.gov.
So we have another couple good ones that just popped in. It says, which business would ever be a marketplace seller if every business is incorporated / registered in at least one state, i.e. either falls under Arizona-based seller or remote seller? So when would marketplace seller ever apply?
So marketplace seller is any seller who sells either online or physically through marketplace facility.
So for example, if I was based in Arizona, but I sold exclusively through Amazon, then Amazon would be the marketplace. I'd be a marketplace seller.
That is correct. That you are selling through Amazon, so you are, Amazon is being marketplace facility, you are a marketplace seller.
All right, and then Susan said, I have a home-based business selling hot pepper sauce and all natural marinade. Buyers pay their postage. What code do I fall under?
So again, Susan, if you are in Arizona, then you are going to charge, buyers pay their postage. What code do I? If you are based in Arizona, you are going to charge 017 for your retail business.
All right, let's see. So we had someone request if you could repeat the information on the question if they sell via Shopify and some of their
Sure.
products are made in Arizona.
Yeah. Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, that you please check your contract with Shopify, because according to my understanding, Shopify do not collect taxes on behalf of the their customer. So in that case, you are required to collect the taxes. So if you are doing business from Arizona, you are going to charge taxes, use business code 017 and charge tax rate of your resident when you are selling to Arizona businesses. But if you are selling to out of state, which is in Florida, then you are required to check the tax rate for Florida or sales tax requirement of Florida, whether you meet their economic threshold or not, so on and so forth.
All right. All right, do we have any other questions? I got a couple more minutes. We can answer a few more questions. Says, what is the code for a SaaS business, software as a service business? The descriptions on AZDOR aren't clear and I can't get a direct answer from them. You mentioned that it is a regular sales tax business. What is the code that I would register for?
So Debbie, again, I will mention that if you are having if you are charging your taxpayer, or sorry, your customer a subscription, and which is, if it is a subscription based sale, then it will be 014, which is personal property rental. And if you charge one time and if you do not have any control after selling that software, then you can use 017 if you are Arizona based. And if you are out of state, then in that case, the personal property rental 014 will remain the same, but you can use 605 or sorry, but yeah, for software as a service, it will be a standard license. So in both cases, it will be 017.
And then we have another question. Can the deduction code be restated for a remote seller?
Can the deduction code be restated? Sorry, Jason, what do you mean by restated?
And while we're waiting for Jason to fill that in and clarify a little bit, I did post in the chat the contact information. I reposted it, Faith had shared before, with the contact information for the Department of Revenue ECHO team. So you'll have their email and their phone number in there to contact this team with some of your questions if they're more directly related to your business. Anisha, I'm guessing what would the code be for a remote seller? On the paperwork.
For remote seller, business code for retail is 605.
Okay. And then can you follow up again on question, if you sell online to Arizona in various delivery locations in Arizona, do you charge your business location tax rate? Some products are drop shipped from out of state as well.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't get that. Just repeat the because I missed. I'm not able to see on the Q&A, Robert.
It's okay. It says if you sell online in Arizona to various delivery locations in Arizona, do you charge your business location tax rate or the tax rate of where it's being delivered to?
If you are Arizona-based seller, definitely you are going to use your business location, or if you are doing online, your home location is your business location, and you are going to charge taxes of that location.
All right. Does it matter where the products are shipped from, or where your business is based and where the sale is taking place?
Yes, definitely. If you are in Arizona and if you are selling product out of state, then if you meet requirement for that state, it will be the customer's shipping address, or you will be taxed.
But what if I'm based in Arizona, but my products ship out of a warehouse in California? Would the taxes change based on where it ships from?
Oh, no. So if you are based in Arizona, it depends where you received the order. If you have received the order at your business in Arizona, then definitely you are going to charge taxes. If you are selling in Arizona, then you are going to charge tax of that location, of your business location. But if you are going to sell to other state and that product, I mean, from the California, you are going to deliver, for example, Florida, then you have to see Florida laws because your customer is from Florida.
Excellent. Thank you. That pretty much wraps up. There were a few more questions we couldn't get to, but again, the contact information for the Echo team is in the chat. And so you have both their email and the phone number. For additional questions, please reach out to them. They're very willing to help out and guide you through that. So we want to thank Manisha and Felicia for being on with us, and Taylor for being on with us today and sharing this information. I'm sure the questions could continue on, but we are out of time. We do need to wrap up. But again, you have the contact information so you can reach out. We want to thank all of you for being with us today, and we hope to see you next Tuesday at 9 a.m. Until then, everybody have a great week, and we will see you soon. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you for all the questions. It was wonderful.
Robert, would you like to stay on for just a second?
Yeah, let me call you separately.
Okay, perfect. I appreciate it.
Okay, bye.
So bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.